up one morning and something feels off, but you can't quite name it. You're breathing, you're moving, you're functioning, but something in you is slipping quietly out of place. Not loud enough to alarm you, not sharp enough to hurt, just a slow, invisible tilt. And the dangerous part is that you don't notice the fall until gravity has already claimed you. That's how it happens. Not through disaster, not through catastrophe, but through the silent rot of attitude, those invisible fractures that turn strong foundations into dust. And the truth is simple: the world is risky, but your own mind is deadlier. You can survive chaos outside, but you cannot survive decay inside. Most people never see the collapse coming because it doesn't enter the room like a villain. It seeps in like humidity. Quiet, patient, familiar. And if you're not careful, it ruins everything you start before you ever realize you were under attack. I know, because I've experienced every one of those internal failures. I've walked through them, stumbled in them, drowned in them, and clawed my way out. And once you've been burned by your own thinking, you start paying attention to the temperature of your mind. You start noticing the draft, the cracks, the warning signals that used to slide past you unnoticed. It always begins with the softest enemy, indifference. That shrug. That it doesn't really matter. That subtle drift that feels harmless because drifting is comfortable. It's easy. You can drift with your hands in your pockets, but you cannot drift upward. You can't float to the top of a mountain. And somewhere inside you, you know that. But comfort whispers better than truth. So you let the day slide. And then another. And soon you're living in a life you never consciously chose. Indifference convinces you that passion is optional, that energy is unnecessary, that momentum is for people with better circumstances than you. It tells you that the real version of you will appear once life upgrades your conditions, once you find a better job, a more exciting start, a sharper opportunity. But that illusion is the first trap. Wherever you are, you're teaching your life how to treat you. When you hold back, life holds back. When you pour it on, life responds in kind. Then there's the paralysis that sneaks in right after: indecision, the stall, the hesitation. The man stuck on the fence thinking about the wrong side, the right side, the what-ifs, the what-thens, the imagined consequences that grow heavier than the actual choices. You tell yourself you're being careful, when in reality you're being swallowed. Make enough delayed decisions, and you start losing faith in your ability to choose at all. But here's the truth nobody likes hearing. You don't escape fear by waiting. You escape fear by movement. Any direction is better than none. A wrong path will teach you faster than sitting still will. Life rewards motion. Adventure requires decisions. And if you live trying to avoid wrong choices, you end up avoiding life itself. When indecision sinks its teeth deep enough, it mutates into something darker: doubt. And doubt doesn't announce itself. It operates like a plague. You don't feel sick until you notice how weak you've become. And the worst doubt isn't about the world, it's about you. The voice that says, I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I'm built for that. I don't know if I can hold something good for long. Self-doubt corrodes from the inside. It steals identity before it steals opportunity. It convinces you that greatness is a personality trait instead of something you build quietly through belief and effort. But flip that coin and everything changes. Because belief is not naive, it's structural. It's the beginning of progress. And once you believe in your own worth, you start making decisions as someone who expects growth, not someone who fears collapse. But even belief has an enemy, a shadow that sits too close: worry. Worry feels responsible, even righteous. It feels like preparation. It feels like taking life seriously. But really, worry is the imagination turned against you. Worry doesn't stop the future from happening. It only drains the strength you need to face it. I used to carry worry like a second skin. I thought it meant I cared. I thought it made me wise. But all it did was shrink my world. It stole sleep. It stole confidence. It stole years. It took me nearly 12 brutal months to kick that habit, to strip it out of my thinking like poison pulled from the bloodstream. And it was worth every minute of the battle. Worry gives nothing. Release gives everything. But even once you escape worry, you face another silent assassin: overcaution. The timid approach to life. The instinct to close the door instead of stepping through it. You tell yourself you're avoiding danger, but really you're avoiding possibility. What if this happens? What if that goes wrong? That's the language of scarcity, the vocabulary of people who don't realize that doing nothing is the most expensive risk of all. Life is risky. Trying is risky. Not trying is fatal. Every meaningful part of life, love, business, dreams, Impact requires the courage to step into uncertainty. You don't beat risk by hiding. You beat it by engaging. But people who are too cautious always end up living in corners, wrapped in safety. Protected, fed, cared for, but lifeless. You might reach 100 years, but what story will you tell? A long life in a small box is not a victory. A shorter life set on fire with purpose is worth infinitely more. Then there's pessimism, the filter that turns sunsets into dirty windows. The mindset that hunts for flaws, collects limitations, obsesses over reasons something won't work. Pessimism feels intelligent because it hides behind realism. But it's not realism. It's scary wearing glasses. And nothing destroys creativity faster than staring at the world through the worst-case lens. Pessimists don't see potential. They see problems. They don't see openings. They see shadows. They don't look for solutions. They look for confirmation that they were right to be afraid. And when they find it, they celebrate it. That's the saddest part, the small satisfaction of being proven correct at the cost of a full life. Your life isn't shaped by what things are. It's shaped by what you think they are. Your mind is a factory, constantly producing the world you'll live in tomorrow. And the ingredients you pour in matter. If you feed it chaos, fear, tragedy, conflict, and garbage, don't expect it to produce strength, clarity, courage, or wealth. You cannot build a mansion with the materials of a dumpster. What you read matters. What you watch matters. What you absorb matters. Every piece of information is either sugar or poison, and your future depends on whether you can tell the difference. A best friend can accidentally poison your thinking just as easily as an enemy can. That's why you stand guard at the door of your mind. You decide what gets in, not the world. Not your habits. You. And finally, the deadliest disease is the one that ends your future before it ever begins, complaining. The slow drip of negativity, the habit of bitterness disguised as honesty, the ritual of pointing out what's wrong instead of building what's right. Complaining is decay. It rots potential. It turns opportunity into dust. It steals days, then months, then years. Every minute spent complaining is a minute stripped from your future. And enough of those minutes pile up into a life you never wanted but somehow ended up with. When you indulge in complaining, you invite stagnation. When you live in complaint, you invite defeat. These internal enemies, indifference, indecision, doubt, worry, caution, pessimism, complaint, they are the true war. Not the world, not the competition, not the circumstances. The battle is inside. And if you win there, you win everywhere. Everything good you'll ever build starts in your mind. Everything disastrous starts there too. So tonight, tomorrow, and every day that follows, stand guard. Notice the drift. Notice the hesitation. Notice the fear. Notice the rot. And fight it not with noise, not with panic, but with clarity, presence, energy, and intent. Because the war is real. The stakes are high. And your future is watching to see whether you step forward or silently disappear.